Hey, everybody, it's your boy, Sean McLaughlin, at Options Sean on Twitter X. Hope you guys are having a good day. Today is Thursday, June 26, 2025. The closing bell just rang. Doing a special closing bell episode today due to a wild schedule here with the team with some other video obligations. So we moved this to the end of the day. Hope that's okay with everybody. But hey, this is the All-Star Options Jam session where we review action amongst positions that we have on in the All-Star Options service. We had a few exits this week, all of which were profitable, which is great. We are going to update some stops on some positions that continue to go our way. We'll review some new trades we've put on, and we'll have a little bit of a lesson. I don't know if it's a lesson, but I got some belly aching to do about one of my trades. But before we get into any of that, let's drop the old disclaimer here that everything we discuss here is for educational purposes only. I'm showing you what I'm doing with my money, and I hope that you are learning something from following my process. All right, so let's start like we always do with the SPY, the S&P 500. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if that's officially a new all-time high close. I don't believe it is, but I mean, it's basically, right? If you follow this dotted line, if we zoom in, that goes right back to the previous high, then the February 19th high. We're right there. We might as well just call it. The V bottom is complete. Shout out to my boy Steve Straza. Absolutely nailed this. I mean, back here when we started rolling over in mid-April, even when we were rolling over here, my boy Straza was pounding the table that we need to be on the lookout for a V bottom. Nobody, I shouldn't say nobody, but few people believed him. But man, he nailed it. And confirmation, it's even more visible on the Qs. If you look at the Qs are actually at all-time highs now. They've been there for a few days, breaking out. So, ladies and gentlemen, in case you hadn't heard, this is a bull market. In spite of what they're telling you on the news, in spite of what the headlines say on the newspapers or whatever your favorite internet news site is, it's a bull market. Don't argue with price. Okay? That's it. And in bull markets, stocks like QS, look at this move in QS we've had today. I'm bringing this up. I don't usually do this, but look at this move. We had a 35% move in QS today. This is a stock that we've had a position in. It was left for dead. Got into this trade back in January. We bought the August 7 calls. I mean, down here, I mean, these calls were zero. They were zeros. I had basically written them off. I still had them in my portfolio, but I had written them off. And by the way, I should point out that the game plan with this trade when we went into it was that this was either a zero or I'm a hero, right? I sized my position in a way that if I lost 100% of the premium I paid, it's okay. It'll be just like any other loss. And so when we were down here in mid-April, basically when these options had a 5-cent offer on them, I just basically gave up on them, but kept them in the portfolio. And boy, I mean, I certainly did not see this coming, what we've seen these last couple of days. Nobody saw this coming. But wow, now our calls are in the money. We're along the August 7 strike calls. They're now 66 cents in the money and climbing. And we still have until August. Wow, this is quite a turnaround, quite a trade. These are the kinds of things that we see in bull markets. All right, so let's review some of the trades that we've either exited or made some adjustments to since we last spoke. In no particular order here, let's start with Coinbase. Coinbase, we're along the July 300 calls. Starting to run out of time on this one, guys. July is right around the corner next week. So coming into next week, I'm going to get much more aggressive with my trailing stop. But hey, we already sold half of our position according to the plan when it broke 300. We sold half of it for $25.50. We bought these for $9.75. So we've already locked in guaranteed profits here in coin, and it just keeps climbing higher. Gotta love it. So we're still riding coin, but we got out of half. What day was this? Was this the 20th? So that was last week. Sold half then, and boy, it just keeps going. So still have coin, but out of half. All right, next up is GIS, General Mills, a short trade that worked. How about that? In a raging bull market, we had a bearish position on that not only made money for us, did exactly what we wanted it to do, and did it quickly. We got into this trade, I believe, on the 18th. We sold a bear call spread. This wasn't an aggressively bearish trade. This was more a bet that General Mills might not scream lower, but it's not going to go any higher. This trend is just undeniable. This stock is weak and getting weaker. And so I just made the bet that General Mills wouldn't go back above 55. I was short the July 55 calls and long the 60 calls for protection. I sold it for 80 cents, bought it back for 40, all according to the plan. Gotta love it when a plan comes together, especially when it comes together in a week's time. Very good. All right, now the next one here is the one I'm feeling a little sheepish about. This is a winning trade. A good win, not a great win, but a good win. QBTS, this is D-Wave Quantum. Back in May, back when I was in New Orleans for the Portfolio Accelerator event with my team and some of our select clients. This was one of the names that was discussed at the round table, and I loved the story and I loved the setup, and that was the reason I got into this trade. I got into this trade while I was still in New Orleans. And boy, it all started working almost immediately. I think it was like a day or two later when we started ripping higher. And it was looking great. When it got up around 19, got close to 20, I was feeling good. In fact, I had a level there at 20. I was going to sell half of my position if it got there. We kissed it. We didn't quite get there. I stuck to my best practices. I wanted to see it get to 20 first before I sold half. It never got there. And now it's breaking back into this gap here. And that made me a little uncomfortable, and I closed the trade. Now, look, I bought it for 370. I sold it for 565. That's a nice win, not a great win, but a nice win, especially considering I had it for just over a month. But guys, do you notice right here? See this? What do I have here? I have long January 2027 calls. That's 18 months until expiration. Now, I'm kind of kicking myself. I'm saying, this thing exploded out of the gate. Yeah, it's pulling back. It hasn't even come back to its 50-period moving average yet. And I just, I was like a slave to my process, closing this trade when it broke this level because that level felt significant to me. But man, had I just zoomed out and reminded myself that I've got 18 months for this thing to work and my risk is defined, the most I could lose is 370. So I could control a stock like this, which is a potential high flyer, a potential just monster. I can control it for just $3.70 from now until January 2027. I'm kind of thinking, I'm kind of kicking myself for getting out of this trade. Now, the good news is that I could always get back in. I see someone in the chat mention something there. You could buy more. Yes, you are right, Jay. You are right. I could buy more. And I'm going to keep a close eye on this one. If this thing pops back up above 16, 17 bucks, I might get back in again. I'm not sure I'll do the exact same trade, but I think I might get back in. And look, I'm a slave to my process sometimes. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I'm flawed just like every other trader out there. And I know it sounds like sour grapes complaining about a winning trade. I got out for a win, and that's great. But man, had I maybe taken a beat and reminded myself that, hey man, these are January 2027 calls. What's the rush? Give it some time. So if you're still in this trade, if you got in this with me, if you're still in it, I don't know, maybe consider holding on a little longer. I don't know. Can you tell I'm kind of torn up about this? I don't know what to think about this trade. But anyway, just wanted to get that off my chest. So sorry about that, but we are now out of QBTS for a win. That's the good news. All right, let's update some stops here. We've got 5 positions here, no particular order that I'm updating my stops for a variety of reasons. One is VEEV, that's Vivo Systems, ticker VEEV. We're long a September 250, 300 bull call spread. We're sitting in profits here, which is nice. And we had a big power gap and we've been consolidating sideways, which I think is very bullish. I'm liking this development here. I think this will give it legs to break up and complete the $300 roll. I think we all should be on alert for a $300 roll here. But I'm raising my stop now to 253, which corresponds both with this blue line is the 50-period moving average, and this yellow line is the anchored VWAP from the April lows. They both kind of conspire right around there. So that seems like a pretty significant level to me. I would hate to see VEEV come back and break 253. I mean, ideally, I don't even want to see it break this gap low here around 265. Wouldn't want to see that, but certainly 253 is where I'm going to wave the white flag. But I'm feeling pretty good about this trade. I've got a resting order to close this spread for 40 bucks, by the way. The most this spread could be worth is 50. That's the difference between the value of the strikes. I'm long the 250 call. I'm short the 300 call. So the most that spread could be worth is 50. I've got a good till cancel limit order out there to sell it at 40, which is 80% of the full value of the spread. I don't like to get greedy with these things. Once I've got 40%, that's enough. I'll take it. But if we do get to 300, if somehow we get to 300, and I have not hit my profit target on that trade, I've not sold it for 40 bucks. I'll just take the profit for whatever it is at that point. It'll be close. It might be 30. I might be able to sell for 36, 37 bucks. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, we're raising our stop to 253 on Vive. Next up is Robinhood. This is a trade that, knock on wood, has worked right out of the gate for us. The day we got in, it just never looked back. I'm raising my stop now to 68, which would be basically the level from which it gapped higher from, where this move really got underway. I don't want to see it come back and break below 68. If it does, I will close this bull call spread. We're long the January 70s and short the 100s against it. This one also, we should be on high alert for a $100 roll, right? We're at 84 right now. Feels to me like the next stop's 100. Let's get there, Robinhood. Next up, Groupon, one of our bigger winning trades of the year. It's having a little bit of a pullback. I will argue that's a well-earned pullback after this monster run we've had. I mean, the stock was at 16 bucks while we were in it, and now it's double that. In fact, it was up above 40 briefly early last week. So a well-deserved pullback today. I'm not too concerned about it, but I am raising my stop now to 27. We've already sold half of our position for 450. So we're free riding on this one right now. Whatever we end up selling the remainder of this position for, that will be pure profit. But hopefully we're selling it way higher from here. That's the goal. Okay, next up, Coinbase. Coinbase, we talked about this a moment ago, but we are long the July 300 calls that I paid $9.75 for. I sold half earlier or last week, and boy, it continues ripping. I'm now moving my stop to 275. All right, that kind of corresponds with that upper resistance that we had before this breakout. I don't want to see it come back to 275. But hey, not only are we free riding on this one, we already have guaranteed profits. So that's a position of strength I like to be in. But yeah, the new stop in coin is 275. And lastly, another stock that I'm feeling increasingly bullish about, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, ticker CM. I made a mention about this on the morning show, not particularly this stock, but more this type of setup. Now that the V bottoms have completed around the market, now we're starting to see stocks breaking out to new 52-week or all-time highs from patterns that look a lot like this. And I think these types of patterns are very strong, very bullish, have a lot of staying power. So I'm looking for more stocks and more setups like this. And so far, CM is working for us. We got in on May 23rd, and it is following through. We're long the January 75 calls. I'm moving my stop now to 65.50, which corresponds with the VWAP off of the April lows, as well as the 50-period moving average. Okay, now let's talk about new trades that we've put on since we spoke last week. Now, for those of you new here, I say this all the time, but if you want the details for these new trades, head to allstarcharts.com, head to the member section, head to the options section. You will find detailed trade plans for every trade that I put on. You'll see why I like the setup, what strategy I'm using, where I'm managing risk, where I may or may not take profits. All of those details are there for you from day one to get started in that trade and make it your own. So yeah, I don't have the details here on the charts, but you can find them at allstarcharts.com. So quickly, I'll just say that these three new trades, all bullish trades, no surprise, we're in a bull market in case you hadn't heard. We got into Next Nav, ticker NN, got into this one last Friday. So far, so good. Credo Technology Group. This is another one of those setups like that CM I was talking about a minute ago. The V bottom is completed. It consolidated right in this area here. And now we're breaking out to new all-time highs. I love these setups. So we're long Credo Technology. And finally, Rocket Lab. Now this, got into this trade yesterday. If you guys read the blog post, you saw that I bucket this. I call this a hard trade. And it is a hard trade because, I mean, look what this stock has done just in the last 7 or 8 trading days. It went up like 30%. So it's hard to buy a stock that's just gone up 30% in the last week or so, right? But if you zoom out and look at the context, we see that it only just cleared the previous highs, the previous cycle highs in February. So this, to me, could potentially be the beginning of another major bull market move in Rocket Lab. So I am in, got in yesterday. So far, so good. Again, all the details for these trades at allstarcharts.com. All right, like to finish up with the updated stops. You guys want to take a screenshot of it, you can. These are the 5 stocks we've updated our stops in. And hey, I have a programming alert, guys. Let me change my slide here, get up here. I got a programming alert starting Tuesday, July 1st, which is next Tuesday. I'm starting a new show. It's going to be called What Are My Options? And it's intended to be an interactive show. I want you guys to tune in. I want you guys to bring some ideas to the table, some stocks you're looking at that you're interested in trading and you want maybe some creative options ideas. We're going to go through it live on the show. I'm going to take your ideas or take your stocks and I'm going to come up with some potential options trades that you might want to consider. Whether you do it or not, it's up to you. I may or may not do it myself, but the point of the show is that so you guys can see how I think through putting on options trades, right? What I look at, what I like to see, what kind of liquidity I want to have, what strategies are available to me in this certain type of volatility environment, right? I want you to be able to see all that, all these steps I go through to put these trades on so that you can learn to be a better options trader yourself. So that's going to start July 1st. We're going to start it. It's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to try to make that a weekly show, Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday. And in addition to hashing out some trade ideas live, I'll also occasionally drop a lesson about something or another related to options trading. And perhaps I'll wax poetically about options trading philosophy. As you guys know, I like to do that, especially my newsletter. Speaking of my newsletter, guys, go into the chat in YouTube right now. If you're not subscribing to my free options newsletter, the link is right there at the top. You could also subscribe to All Star Options to get all these trade ideas delivered right to your inbox, timely. And also, if you like the charts that I share, check out trendspider.com. Those are the charts I use. And if you use my promo code Sean50, they'll give you 50% off a subscription plan at TrendSpider. Just click those links there. And as always, if you have any questions, you want to hit me up via email, just info@allstarcharts.com. In fact, I have a slide for that. There it is right there. Oh, no, it's not there. Hit me up, email, info@allstarcharts.com. Happy to answer any questions you have. All right, folks, it's Thursday. The weekend's almost here. In fact, my weekend starts tonight because well, no, that's not true. I'm going to do some trading early in the morning tomorrow. And then I'm heading off playing hooky for the rest of the day, visiting some family up in the mountains here in Colorado. So have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy your summer. July 4th is right around the corner. Let's get after it. I'll talk to you again next week. Take care.